This is Global Signals by Andrew Dremin, deep dives and insights about retail and FMCG. So today we are looking at megacities, and specifically we're looking at why massive population growth does not mean easy revenue.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Because, you look at a map, you see a city of 50 million people, and you think you just hit the jackpot.
Right.
But trying to sell basic goods to those 50 million people might actually bankrupt your company.
It really might, because retail executives look at these massive population charts, and they make a very dangerous assumption.
Right.
They think a high head count automatically equals big revenue for consumer goods.
Well, the numbers are huge. I mean, by 2050, Dhaka will hit 52 million residents.
Yes.
And Jakarta will reach 50 million. And if you look ahead to 2100, the 15 largest cities will all be in Asia and Africa.
Exactly. But looking at a massive city and seeing instant profit it's basically like looking at the ocean and thinking you solved the water crisis.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, because the volume is there. But the cost to extract the value will bankrupt you. Population is just not purchasing power.
So the massive volume is basically a mirage. It is a trap. So how does that math actually fail?
Well, it fails because of unit economics. In these urban areas, most people do not buy a large shampoo bottle.
Right.
They buy single-serve sachets and micropacks. And these small items sell for maybe 5 to 15 cents.
Wait, 5 to 15 cents. So if an item sells for 10 cents, the gross profit must be absolutely microscopic.
It is.
We are talking about fractions of a cent per unit here.
Exactly. I mean, you manufacture, pack, move, and track millions of these tiny units.
Yeah.
And the profit just barely covers your factory power and local sales staff and your office overhead.
So it just ties up all your working capital for almost nothing.
It really does. It sounds crazy, but a tiny 0.2% market share in Germany or the UK brings in higher absolute cash flow than a massive 10% share in one of these low-margin urban markets.
Wow. Okay, so fractions of a cent. You cannot afford any mistakes. But in a city like Jakarta, you cannot exactly drive a big delivery truck to a small corner store.
No, you definitely cannot.
So how do companies actually move millions of units?
Well, Western models use semi-trucks and centralized hubs, and that completely fails in dense megacities.
Right.
Up to 80% of sales happen in traditional trade. So these are informal shops.
Like the local kiosks.
Yes, like warungs in Indonesia or Muderdokens in Bangladesh and Sari stores in the Philippines.
Okay, so in a developed market, you might supply, say, 10 to 30 supermarkets to reach 1 million people. How many of these small shops do you need for that same population?
You must supply up to 15,000 corner kiosks per million people.
Wait, really? 15,000?
Yeah.
That is a massive difference. You cannot map out a route for 15,000 kiosks using big trucks.
You can't. You have to use fleets of motorcycles and three-wheelers and even hand carts.
Wow.
And this creates a huge margin drain because you have to add extra layers of local sub-distributors. And that cuts your net distribution margins down to just 2 to 4%.
2% margin. That leaves absolutely zero room for error.
Right.
But the roadblocks do not just stop at the streets. Now you also have local governments looking at all those empty plastic wrappers from the sachets.
Yeah, that is a huge issue because single-use packaging already costs more per gram than bulk containers.
Oh, of course.
And now local governments are passing new extended producer responsibility laws and plastic bans.
Right.
So brands must switch to expensive biodegradable materials, or they have to pay heavy municipal waste fines.
Which wipes out that tiny margin even more. And what happens if the local currency drops?
Ah, yes. That is the currency devaluation trap.
Okay.
Because you sell your products in Bangladeshi taka or Indonesian rupee, but you buy your factory equipment and spare parts and ingredients in dollars or euros.
So a sudden 15 to 25% drop in the local currency just destroys your operating margin.
Instantly, and you cannot fix it.
Yeah, because you can't just raise prices.
Exactly. You cannot raise a 10-cent sachet to 13 cents. If you do, price-sensitive shoppers will just leave you for local alternatives.
So selling to thousands of small shops must also create cash flow problems then.
It does. Because corner kiosks have very little daily capital.
Right.
Distributors often give them goods on informal credit. So when demand slows down, the micro retailers just cannot pay.
Oh, wow.
And this results in bad debt.
So the Western playbook basically just completely fails here. Foreign brands cannot navigate the physical gridlock or the economics on their own.
No, they can't. They must use local strategies.
Okay.
But international brands often underestimate the local competitors. they face massive domestic companies like PN in Bangladesh or Indofood in Indonesia.
And those giants have low-cost operations,
Yeah.
right?
They have low overhead, strong ties to municipal authorities, and unmatched loyalty from the kiosk owners.
So if a foreign brand wants to survive, they basically just have to buy their way into the local system.
Correct. And they use three main strategies for this.
Okay, what is the first one?
First is domestic contract manufacturing. This helps them avoid import tariffs and ocean freight costs.
Okay, so they just pay a local factory to make the goods. What is the second option?
Local joint ventures. So the foreign company brings the brand equity and the product formulas,
Right.
and the local partner handles the messy logistics and the field sales.
That makes sense. You partner with someone who already knows the alleys and the kiosks.
Yes. And the third option is simply buying an established domestic heritage brand outright.
Oh, so you just buy a working factory and instant shelf space?
Exactly. You optimize their production line instead of building everything from zero.
That really changes how we look at expansion. I mean, if you plan to expand a brand, you have to evaluate the unit economics and the operating overhead. You cannot just look at the massive top-line volume.
That is exactly the point.
Which brings up a very important question, I think. If multinational companies just buy local heritage brands to survive, do the global brands actually win? Or are they just funding local dominance? Something to think about. You were listening to Global Signals by Andrew Dremin, deep dives and insights about retail and FMCG.